do that. So let me say exactly what I said before. Okay, so if x is negative 2, you use the equation they give you, and you put in negative 2 for x and calculate it with the calculator, and that's the ordered pair negative 2, negative 9. So go ahead and do these ones on your own and get the ordered pair, which we're going to plot on the graph that follows. I'll let you podcast people pause there and finish that chart, and unpause when you're done. Live from Okotoks, it's Friday morning math. Maureen, yeah, an American Eagle. J.O., an almost average teacher. And smiley cats who are working hard. Okay, finish that thing. Sorry, podcast people, I did not record the last 20 minutes, or probably 15 minutes. So let's get back for you. And on that example, this is the answer. This is the chart. Yeah, the table of values that to fill out. And when you plot those points on the table of values, pause if you didn't get those table of values, and don't worry about the last two. You need to label the line with arrows on the bottom, and we also have to give me the name of the line, and the name of the line is the equation of the line. So write down y equals 2x subtract 5 on the top or bottom arrow. And so far, perfect. And a reminder that yesterday we said when it says use the graph, you do not show your work. X equals 6, you go to x equals 6, hit the graph, and then see what y equals. If it says use the equation, of course, you do show your work and get the same answer. We also talked about putting this on our graphing calculator just to check to see if we're right or not. So to do that, we press y equals and put 2x subtract 5 in there. The x button is right beside the green button. And press graph. And if your graph doesn't look like this, press the zoom, which is the top middle button, zoom 6. Will reset your windows to negative 10 to 10, negative 10 to 10. So yeah, it looks like our graph, so we did it right. And here are the other answers to those questions. Now, good job. Okay, now we're moving on to, not that guy, this guy. So we just did one of the negative points because that's going to be the hardest one. And if you get any of these wrong, it's always going to be the negatives when you have a parabola. If you have x squared in your equation, it's going to be a parabola either facing up or facing down. If you don't get a parabola, you did the negatives wrong. And what's the biggest mistake on the negatives? Well, the only mistake is students not putting the negative inside the brackets. So when you square it, it becomes positive. It does not stay negative. But it's an easy fix. Okay, so podcast people, fill the rest of that chart in and then unpause when you're ready. Otherwise, we're going to start correcting that question right now. Did anybody get those points? Pretty much, yep. Thumb up, and some nods. Right on. Okay, so when you plot those points, you know what you should get. You should get smiley face, a parabola opening up. And I don't love this. What did I do? I just went up. a million pages. I don't love that they didn't put arrows on the parabola because it does go on forever as well. So let's put parabolas at the end and label it, please. So I'll go a little better than that and put y equals, what is it, x squared subtract 6, I think. And then let's double check it. Why not? Let's go y equals x squared. First clear it so you don't have any leftover part. So everyone press x squared. So you don't press the x squared button, you press x and then x squared. Okay, so press x then x squared, and then subtract 6, not negative 6, and press graph. And that should look like what we have. So happy and smiley. Just like you guys do your math. But it's important to know what it should look like before you start graphing, right? It should be an easy fix to find any mistakes, especially when I said all the mistakes are negatives. And then you get to answering similar questions like we just answered on the last one. So go ahead and answer the questions, and if I didn't give you enough time, that's okay. We were supposed to do this together anyway. Use the graph. When x equals -4, what does that equal? -4 goes up to here. There it is, just like 4 and 10. And then again, when you're doing table of values or a simple equation question, don't forget to put that negative sign in brackets before you square to make it positive. The other thing you could do, if you don't want to use your calculator, you can just put what's -4 squared and don't even worry about touching your calculator. I think some of you smarty pants did that first. Non-linear, yes. Everyone write down, this is a quadratic equation. Is what is called more than nonlinear. Quadratic equation. We're doing lots of quadratics in grade 11. Yes, sir.
So these ones are called quadratics. Is it related to how graphs have 4 quadrants, or is it another thing?
I don't think so. That's a very good question. Quadratic equations just have x squared as the highest exponent, which I don't think has anything to do with 4. Quadrants mean 4, quads mean 4. I think quadratic, I don't think relates to the number 4. You blew my mind on that one. Did I make it good enough? Because I have no idea what the answer is. So did that sound like I kind of knew what I was doing, but I didn't have a clue? Good question. We'll have to dissect the Latin. Okay, we did that. Let's do one more thing on our calculator. Okay, first of all, this is called the maximum or minimum point. And if it's, does this look like a valley or a mountaintop? Valley has a low point. So a minimum, this is the minimum. And the minimum is the exact same thing as the vertex. The vertex, I don't know why I put a bracket there. Vertex means the highest or the lowest point. Okay, so that's a fancy word, but you need to know what it means. And so what point is the vertex, everyone? 0, -6. And so the minimum is 0, -6. So when I say is it maximum or minimum, I don't want you to tell me it's a max or min. I want the point, the maximum or minimum point, okay? How do you do that on your calculator? So much fun. All right, get this graph on your calculator, please, before I do. X squared subtract 6. Press graph. Now your calculator will calculate the vertex we'll calculate the XY intercepts. I want to know how to do the vertex, and this is how you do it. I guess it's podcast people, so I have to write it down. I'll go in green here. You do second. So second, calculate. So your trace button becomes the calculate button. So second, calculate is your second top row, second to the right beside the graph button. That's your calculate. So second, calculate. And then is it minimum or maximum? So you have to know which one. So it's minimum. So you press 3, and now it's weird. When it says left bound, you have to move this cursor with these blue arrows. Here on the podcast, like the arrows that are closest to the green buttons here, these blue arrows here. You have to move it to the left of the vertex. So anywhere to the left, when you're done that, you press enter. And then you got to move to the right of the vertex, anywhere, press enter. Then you can see when I do that, your calculator, I don't think I can write on this, your calculator is evaluating a low point for between these two arrows right here. And all you have to do is press enter again. And it gives you not quite 0, -6, but this is a -2.6 is 0.0000026. So it's basically 0, right? So you can just assume any of exponent the e's to the -6 or -8 or -3 is just 0. Okay, so write down 0. Yep.
So I got a different x value. Does that just mean I went further or like less farther away?
It just means you have a different calculator. What does it have? E to the what?
E to the -6. 1 definitely
Okay.
0, -6.
No, it's the same. It's just 0. So probably yours is more accurate because it's a newer one than this one, but I don't know why that would change at all. So that's how you find a vertex on your calculator. Write that down. Second, calculate minimum, and then you move left, right, and then enter. So write down the green stuff to write down calculator, vertex, calculator keys. Okay, write that down because we're not going to do it a lot. If I do ask you to find a vertex, you have to know how to use your Xbox calculator. Your turn to do page 10. Bottom of page 10. One for you. Be careful with the negatives. In fact, I want everyone to start with the -1 just to make sure you're on the right track. I want everyone to start with this one, please. What do you know about this graph? Is it a line or a parabola? Parabola. I might as well tell you x squared means parabola facing up, and if you have a negative x squared, the parabola is facing down. You'll get to learn that once you do enough of these. But if you don't get one of those, you did the negative signs wrong, so figure it out. Podcast people, pause. Good job. Okay, we're going to do the -1. Just make sure you don't do all the other ones wrong. So y equals -x squared plus 5. As stated, if you have a negative sign out in front, you leave it out in front. So there's a negative sign, you leave it out in front. X is also negative. So this x squared becomes -1 squared plus 5. And you don't need to be scared of that at all, because your calculator will do all that. Just put brackets in. But that's -1 plus 5. So that answer should be 4. Anyone confirm that? 4? Yep. Yep. Okay. So that's how you do it. You leave a negative sign out, and then there's another negative sign that goes in the bracket. So careful with this one and study star, so you know the difference between the one we just did and the one that has a negative x squared in it. Okay, fill in the rest of the table, plot it, answer the questions. Actually, I don't think there is any questions, but I'm going to give you questions. I want you to confirm with the sketch. Confirm your graph looks right. With the calculator, sorry. Confirm your sketch with the calculator. And I also want you to calculate the vertex using your calculator. And I also want you to tell me whether it's a minimum or a maximum point. I guess you have to do that with your calculator anyway. And looks like you're going to have 4 questions for homework. Nope, 5, 6. 4 big graphs and 2 little ones. Okay, if you're done that one, go ahead and work on the homework. Page 10, nope, page 11, 12, 13, again, just 1 question each page. And the top of page 14 will be homework. 11 to 14. I think podcast people heard that. Pages 11 to 14 is homework. There's 1 question per page. It sounds like more than it is. All on graphing. Remember, when you're graphing, you guys don't get lazy. Draw arrows and label the line or the parabola, or you're going to lose a quarter mark every time. You don't want to lose those marks. So get a good habit right now. Podcast people, I'm going to pause you. Okay, so here are the answers, the points to that parabola. And make sure you label the name of that parabola on either arrow. Let's confirm it with our calculator. Y equals a negative. So you guys, you have to press your negative sign to the side of the enter button. You can't put subtract or it's going to say error. Okay, so you can never press a subtraction sign when it says negative. So negative, I should clear this first so I don't keep something. X squared plus 5. Check to make sure everything's good for us. Looks exactly like it. Now let's find the vertex. We'll go slowly. So second, calculate. Is this a minimum or a maximum? That's a maximum on top of the mountain. So maximum 4. Now I got to go anywhere left of the maximum. Press enter. Anywhere right of the maximum and press enter. And then don't forget you have to press enter again to evaluate that interval. And that is 0, 5. Can I get 0, 5? So vertex equals 0, 5. And please write it as an ordered pair. So you need brackets. Don't put x equals 0, y equals 5. I need an ordered pair, okay? I need the maximum point. Write it as a point. Talk to me.
I got 1.15.
1.15. Did you put the negative? I'm not sure. I'll check it out. Everyone okay with that? You look like you got a funny looking eyes.
How does it equal 0? Mine's like 6. Yeah, we get like 6 points.
Are you talking about your x coordinate or your y coordinate? Okay, so this is what you put for y equals? Negative x squared plus 5? Oh, it looks like it's 0, 5 according to the graph. And you make sure you put maximum. I'm not sure. I'll just come to you too and we'll figure it out. Okay, everyone else, just work on homework for now. Okay, go to that page. Fill in the blanks the best you can. We're using 5 minutes here on a short Friday. Don't worry, there's going to be 0 homework. I just want to do 1 Actually, I don't even think we'll do one question. I just want to set up X, Y intercepts for Monday. Okay, fill these in. Fill in the blanks.
Yes.
Hey, you got them? You sent it to me? Yeah. Okay, relation is a connection between two quantities. A relation can be represented by graphically by a set of. Anybody? Yeah, ordered pairs is what they're looking for. Coordinates would be great. First component of an ordered pair is the what coordinate? X. What's that? Independent or dependent? Independent. Y is dependent on X. So cool. Fill these 3 dots in. And careful you read. Fill in A. Here's graph 1 across the x-axis. Where's graph 2 and graph 3 across the x-axis? Write it as an ordered pair. And then answer the next question, which is the most important part for x-y intercepts. It is hard to draw small. 2, 0, 0, 3. All right, is that the point you guys got? Don't worry about the. This is the grand finale. Drum roll, please. What do they all have in common, everyone? Y equals 0. So whenever you find, and these are called x-intercepts, okay? So write that down. These are all x-intercepts. Whenever you're finding an x-intercept, it's kind of the opposite of what your brain thinks. It's not x equals 0 for x-intercept, it's y equals 0. You can see it right here. All these points have 0 height, 0 up and down this. Next page. You're not going to be the boss of me. Write down where they cross the y-axis. Where do those graphs cross the y-axis? Don't put anything away, please. Thank you. I don't know, I'm keeping it for an extra 2 minutes that I usually do. Let's introduce our x-y intercepts. Anybody get that?
Yes.
These are all y-intercepts. What do all the y-intercepts have in common? X equals 0. God, that's awesome. Hey! Weekend! Ha ha ha!